You know, that July 19th, that evening, I was actually at home. Was not on call as a chief officer, and we got paged, and I was listening. I always listen to the pages, but I was listening to it, and they paged our water rescue team, and for a capsized duck with 30 people in the water. And I think it was pretty clear to everybody right off the get-go that it's going to be a major event.
When I arrived on scene that night, the thing I vividly remember, it was complete chaos. The biggest thing that I had a real hard time understanding is we had victims from the duck sitting there, a very small number. And I knew how many had went to the hospital already, and my biggest obstacle in my mind I couldn't come over is where was the rest of them?
Our initial response was we sent one ambulance and a supervisor. During their response out there, before they ever got on scene, we started receiving more reports, and then we started receiving reports directly from the showboat. So almost firsthand reports that it was a duck boat, that we were looking at potentially upwards of 30 to 35 people. At that point, we initiated our mass casualty response plan. When they got on there, they quickly realized how devastating this scene was potentially going to be. They found several patients in cardiac arrest with CPR in progress, and then more and more reports that someone else had been pulled ashore.
We didn't realize just how many people either needed minimal treatment, no treatment, or were dead. And that was highly unusual. And then some people were pulled out of the water that were not alive. And you know, at the very end, it turned out we had obviously the 17 fatalities. That's obviously a very high number of fatalities.
We had several people, but I was expecting a lot more people. It was unfortunate that we had more that passed away that made it to the hospital for us to care for, and that's always a difficult thing to swallow. You know, we're in the job of helping and saving lives, and when there's not that many to save, it makes for a very difficult day.
We were anticipating receiving a large amount of patients, but we did not. And the reason why was because so many had drowned. And that was it was just very saddening for us.
Once we knew that we had unattended minors, as the patients were rolling in, we realized that some of them didn't have adults with them. Then we had to work on getting staff members to stay available to sit with those patients so that they weren't alone. At one point, after my patient found out that his mom and his brother were confirmed deceased, he wanted to tell me about the story of the day that his brother was born. So as emotional as it was, he told me that story, and all I needed to do in that moment was just to sit and listen.
I couldn't wrap my head around it at all. Just the initial thought of the duck boat capsizing, you know, just trying to figure out what was going on. And then when the numbers started coming in, it was just sobering and so staggering that you just couldn't wrap your head around it.